Hello, this is an update to IB Film for not just the 2021 cohort, but the now incorporated 2022 cohorts in May and November. So IB has sent out a communique that details how the IB Film course will be assessed. Now, this is going to directly affect all students because the course has been designed around what IB's normal assessment types and calendar as stipulated in the course guide. Due to COVID, and recognizing that many students around the world are in lockdowns or deal with quarantines and are presented a number of obstacles to prevent them from completing a full film portfolio, or for higher level students, the collaborative project. IB has made some amendments to their typical assessment procedures and policies. So you will see that due to the continued loss of instructional time, which will also have impacted students who began their studies in 2020 for first assessment in 2022, the IB has decided to extend the adaptations which were put in place for 2021 and now will be used in 2022. So in this communique, it says that you can view the adaptations in the document there, but we're going to look at a different document that breaks it down very easily. Okay, so let's take a look at what film components will be assessed and how they've changed. All right, so we have the textual analysis, comparative study, and film portfolio assessments. Notice the current marks. That would be like as a regular non-COVID affected IB film course assessment procedure would adhere to. But for the November and May 2021 cohort, you'll see that the textual analysis has stayed the same. The comparative study has stayed the same, but the film portfolio has been reduced from 24 points possible to 8 points possible. Why is that? Because the film portfolio usually involves a 3-chapter portfolio, but is now being reduced to a 1-chapter film portfolio assessment submission. So as the course has been telling students that the first 3 productions would be for Chapter 1, the second 3 would be focused on Chapter 2 and Role 2. And then at the beginning of your Year 2 course, you would work on the 3-minute film, which would be Chapter 3. That would total 24 points. But now IB is saying if you're in the November or May 2021 or the November or May 2022 cohort, those cohorts will only be submitting 1 chapter, 1 role. Okay, so it's a 3-page FPA pages document and a 3-minute reel. Also note that the current weightings is 30% for the TA, 30% for the CS, and 40% for the portfolio. But because the portfolio has been reduced to 1/3 of its normal content, that will be reduced to 25% weighting of your overall IB component score. That means your textual analysis has raised in weighting from a 30 to 35, and the comparative study will raise from 30% to 40% of your overall IB film component score. So it's still adds up to 100% and 100 points. And of course, 41 out of 100 means that you pass, right? Anything above 41 out of 100 is a passing score. So it still adds up to 100, but the weights have changed. So we will go into greater detail in the 2022 cohort instructional path and course sequence to get students to better understand, what everything that's involved with the FPA is really building towards. But what it appears to be is that we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity to explore the roles without as much risk. And we also have an opportunity to repeat a role. Let's say in Chapter 1 you chose editor, and you started getting really good at it, and then you moved to cinematographer for Chapter 2. But you realize, you know what? I'm really liking editor. I'm feeling really comfortable with this role. I would like my Chapter 3 production, which would be the 3-minute production in year 2. I would like to assume the role of editor again. You will be able to do that because you are only going to submit one role. Now, just again, looking forward, and we'll talk about this in greater detail, but students were finding in the 2021 cohort that learned this information for them over the summertime. So when they came back to the year 2, they learned all of a sudden that they only have to do one chapter. We have learned that those 2021 students performed better in their 3-minute production at the start of year 2. So we are going to encourage students to continue to learn, continue to explore the rules, continue to take risks, continue to grow, so that in the fall, when students work on their 3-minute film, which would have been a part of their Chapter 3 reel, that production, the year 2 3-minute film, we would like to encourage students for that to be their submission to IB. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't submit your Chapter 1 work that you've done this year or your Chapter 2 work that you've done this year. Everybody will still be expected to do all the production work through December of 2021. So it's not a matter of the workload, because everybody's going to be doing the same workload. Everybody's going to be expected to do the production work, especially since semester 3 is completely focused. 3 months of work, 3 months or more, are completely focused on completing a 3-minute film. So that's a lot of time to plan, prepare, execute, and then finalize the product. And again, we've found that our students in the November and May 2021 cohort, that the student work at the beginning of year 2 is strongest. So think about that as we continue to work through the rest of this course. We still have one production to complete. We will do that after the textual analysis process for the May 2022 group. So think about that. And if you have questions, go ahead and reach out to your teachers. And again, we're planning to touch upon this in some live lessons and such that will take place in the future. All right. Thank you for watching, and thank you for paying attention to this. And hopefully this is great news for everyone involved.